care, but just to make sure we're up.
Why is it always when you load up the Twitch app, it wants to update?
Yeah.
It's why I got rid of it for my phone, because it's useless.
By the way, we are live now, guys. just throw that down.
Twitch is marvellous.
Just mention that in passing. Oh, Mohammed's got the thumb up, which says we are live on YouTube. And Frank, can you see if we're live?
I'm working on it. Apparently I haven't subscribed to this.
Oh, okay. We'll just assume we are. Someone will tell us. I'm getting a tick next to Twitch, so you know.
Yeah, we are. We're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Well, good evening everywhere, but you know the arse end of the world where I live. So this morning, I, Thomas Bolton, am the replacement GM for Dave, who is your usual GM. He's flat out doing other things. And we are going to be doing Alien the Colony. This is an effect podcast, sort of based YouTube. So hello, everyone. Good morning. Any watchers? I can't tell if there are any watchers. I have no idea how to tell. So I'll just assume that if you're watching, you care. What we will do is we'll just quickly go around the chat, introduce ourselves and our characters, and then we will dive straight into play. So if I could just ask Connor, who's here on the stream, to introduce his character very quickly, that would be lovely.
All right. Hi, I'm Commissar Tan Blatchman, in charge of security here on the colony. So hoping nothing gets out of hand today. Hoping it all nice and secure. Nothing too strenuous going on, you know. So that's how
what
we
could
want it.
Possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
Now, if I could ask Mohammed if you could introduce your character, please.
Yes, I'm playing Sultana Rashidova. She's the mechanics / electrician / handy woman. If anything is broken or not functioning, she's your woman. She can fix anything. So she was on the last mission to retrieve the UPP colonist. The colonial colonist from the ship. So maybe she'll a little bit edgy for what she saw last time.
Thank you. I'll point down now at Scott.
Hello, I'm Scott. I am playing Jaeger Devyatowski, who is actually a name of a coworker, believe it or not. Yeah, he is a scientist / roughneck. Has recently arrived at the colony. Recently is a relative term, so new character playing along.
Thank you. Well, I can never get the fingers right. Paul.
I'm James Hutton. I am I'm probably the only person here that's not in the UPP. I'm a LaSalle employee. I'm one of the surveyors on the base, and I tend to end up flying things when Oscar can't be bothered. And I nearly stopped the nasty signal being sent out to the UAE.
Okay. And now if I can whatever that way in that general direction. Thank you, Mohammed. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Frank.
Everybody pointed at me. Yeah, I'm Oscar. I'm playing Oscar Prischka. He's an idealist, socialist, or communist, and he's an agrarian. He tends to handle heavy machinery. He's got his own tractor, and he's actually started to learn how to pilot the thing as well, not just how to fix the thing. Last time I was out was when we were going to this deep sea research station, and instead found some Marines there rather than our own people. So it's been a little while for my character as well.
Perfect. Okay, so the colony has obviously been, hit pretty hard over the last year. A number of things have happened. There's been the giant fungal explosion resulting in many people becoming zombified. There's been the fixing of that, but there's also now been the more recent United America's potential interference in the colonies. Actions much to the concern of actually both the Lascelles and UPP leadership. So, what's the story, Mother? So the events that have played out over the last year in the colony have really hit the colonists hard. Fungal infections, UA interference, and the death of a number of people have landed blows on the confidence of the colony overall. It's talked about in the corridors and in the privacy of the habs, but never out loud. Something people are talking about, though, is the fact that a number of the systems seem to be breaking down. The colony needs to run a constant set of maintenance activities or things fall apart pretty quickly. It's been progressively harder to keep up the schedule, which people think is just a result of the disruption, and others say is all about poor management by the colony's leadership. Recycling systems are failing. Smells are starting to rise through the controls and operations facility. In addition, electrical systems have been showing intermittent responsiveness, which is dangerous to all. It looks like we'll need a crack team of the colony's best and brightest to find the source of the problem and sort it out before something really bad happens. Oh, and save the jobs of the current leadership while we're at it. So...
And they decided to call us.
And they decided to call you.
The B team.
If that colour red that's been painted onto your shirts in any way makes you feel uncomfortable, let me reassure you, it is just to help everyone recognise your important status in the colony overall.
I should have worn my red shirt, unlikely to make a t-shirt.
As opposed to your Obey Cthulhu t-shirt. Yeah. But it's a nice touch. So, you are all aware that actually things have been running down a little bit. So, not quite as bad as a sort of space-based colony, but you are a new colony in a new environment. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have to be maintained and kept running, or else, food doesn't work quite the way it should. Vitamins get missed. The water isn't quite as clean as you need it to be. You are aliens on an alien world, and the systems that keep you alive are vital to the continued survival of the colony overall. There have been reported stories of equipment not quite working. And certainly if any of you have been in the control and operations center, and for various reasons, a number of you will have been, there have been intermittent electrical issues. So reporting and systems not quite reporting as they're meant to. Now, I think the commissar is actually part of the leadership of the colony, if I remember correctly.
I am indeed.
Right. So, commissar, not that you're worried about your job. And I just want to point out, today, the commissar's bête noire, his dark shadow, will not be joining us. This is not an instance of the Inspector Shoe mysteries, who is currently on holiday somewhere in England, which is amazing. He's travelled a long way. So you are all, well, perhaps it starts with you, commissar. So the current person who's responsible for maintenance of the facility overall is Gus Shepherd, who is obviously a member of the Lascelles leader group as opposed to yourselves. Now, he's developed quite a level of concern about what's happening overall in the colony. And he's brought that to your attention. So he calls you into his office. So, Commissar,
Gus,
we have what is developing as a very significant issue. The colony is basically, and he pulls out, endless PowerPoint slides or the equivalent thereof with projected, trajectories of recycling and other things and throws them in your general direction and says, you don't understand how critical this is. But if you look at this chart, you can see that we're going to miss our recycling goal by 10%. If that turns into a thing, we're doomed, I tell you. Now, you're looking at these charts with all of the, you know, engineering expertise that you bring to the table every day in your role. Okay, good. The reason I've called you, though, is a little bit of research shows that one of the major problems is it appears people are simply not doing their job.
Oh, that can't be stood for.
So we are sending people to do repairs, and I can show you, and he points once again to a number of dots on the chart. See this dot right here? That simply wasn't done. Like, we've got a problem. People are not doing their job, Commissar. And a lot of those people are UPP colonists.
If they're UPP colonists, there must be some logical explanation as to why they've missed their things. Maybe something more critical came up. I will personally go and kick these guys into action and make sure they don't forget their other duties to the colony.
Excellent. And look, I've asked a number of other members of the colony with the right technical expertise to support your investigation and also possibly to fix some of these problems while they're at it. Now, you may not be aware, but there's a set of... He looks at you and goes, no, you won't be aware. So there's a set of maintenance tunnels that run under the operations center. So a lot of our facilities are actually supported by, you know, maintenance activity that goes on in these tunnels. In particular, the recycling center exists underneath the operations center, so it's obviously quite critical. We have a separate one. So as you'd be aware, there's the two parts of the colony connected by the big tunnel between the two. The operations center is on one side of that straight, and the rest of the colony is on the other. So there's two sort of recycling centers because we don't port that stuff across the tunnel for obvious reasons. But it seems to be the tunnels underneath the operations center that are being particularly problematic. Can I suggest, I've put in a request, a meeting call. I've summoned Sultana, a Jaeger, who I assume you know, he's a new UPP colonist, recently brought in. James, stalwart member of our own team, one of the best we've got. And Oscar, who I barely know, but appears to, you know, be able to pilot things. I brought them all in. They're waiting in the meeting room. If you could go and sort of work out what you're going to do about this. I've got a couple of names, and he passes you a couple of names, which we can make up on the fly because I didn't write them down. And if you could do that, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, right away. I will get right on with it. I can't
now,
stand for
Tan Blackman, could I ask you to make a... I suspect it's a wits roll. Possibly an empathy roll. I'm open to either. I don't really mind, whichever one you want.
I mean, I'm better at empathy, so...
Then, wow. Okay, then you should roll that.
Is that a surprise?
Look, commissars are famous for their empathy. I don't know why anyone suggests...
Well, I need empathy to be able to command, so...
That's true. And be a
we
good
don't
doctor.
start with any stress, right?
No stress. No, all good.
I got one success.
Excellent. Okay, you can have one stress. Add it to your character straight away. So this is what we in the bureaucratic world would call a buck pass. This is clearly something Gus should be fixing. He's the owner of maintenance, but he's just made that your problem.
Okay, that's fun. I'll make sure to bring it up in the next meeting of the higher ups.
Indeed.
You know, we want more UPP members on there anyway, so getting rid of a LaSalle person be fine.
One more opportunity to clean house and get rid of the reactionaries. Okay, the meeting room is there. He, you know, sort of points you in the general direction.
Can I take some of these charts and sheets and things to go over? Sure.
Yeah.
I picked them up. I
There's
walk
a
into
giant
the next
pile of
room.
paper. He gives it to you and says, "That'll help."
Walk into the next room with them, chuck them all in front of Sultana, saying, "What could do you understand any of this? What is this? What does this mean? What have I been told to do?"
Okay. So you're all sitting around the table, and there's now a giant sort of, spread of papers spread across the entire table, coming out of the manila folder that they were previously stored in. Sure, you would think it's really expensive to import paper just to print on it, but it's a bureaucracy. That's the sort of thing we do in bureaucracies. We import paper just to print them. Okay, you're all around the table. There's charts and tables, in front of you. If any of you would like to, make a observation roll or an appropriate skill roll to analyze the data, I'm more than happy for you to do so. Frank, you
How
are
about
on mute.
some heavy machinery?
Sure, yes, because heavy machinery and strength are unfortunately the aliens' answer to all engineering problems.
My answer to all engineering problems. 2 successes.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, Oscar, you're threading through the reports. What are you particularly? I mean, I need to give you the information, but what sort of information are you particularly looking to glean?
Well, the first thing I would be looking at, there was some mention of my experience of it as well, some power fluctuation. So anything to do with power cabling, power generation, whatever that might be. That's what I would be looking for, any defects or likely defects that would cause this.
Okay. Is anyone else doing any analysis?
Jaeger would like to use observation to try to identify any discrepancies in the paperwork.
Absolutely, Jaeger. Someone simply in the wrong form.
0 successes.
Excellent. Would you like to push that, Jaeger?
Sure, why not? I know there has to be something wrong here.
Don't forget to add your stress dice.
If you look hard enough, something will.
There it is. It manifested itself. There were 2 pages stuck together.
Together.
I don't want to explain why, but there was 3 successes there.
Very nice. Wow. See right here. Anyway, Sultana and James, are you interested in doing any analysis, or are you waiting for the other people who've literally dived on top of the pile of paper and hurled themselves at it with great gusto to deliver their analysis?
James will have a rifle through the papers if you can, and see what he can find out. I think James wants to look through the stuff and see if there's any clues to what might be clogging up the machinery.
Perfect. Make a heavy machinery roll. Or an observation roll.
It's the other thing that you roll when you... I got a total of 1 success.
Okay. Perfect. And Sultana, anything that you'd like to...
I need to check the life preservation, if there is anything toxin that will maybe in the air ventilation or something like that. So heavy machine.
Oh, yep. So whether the support systems, actual maintenance systems working. Yep. Go for
it. 2 successes.
Perfect. Okay. So starting with Oscar. So Oscar, your analysis tells you that the electrical faults are they appear to be primarily about, how would you put this? Yeah, so they're primarily about the messaging infrastructure itself, right? So they're not about the core system. So when people and there's some reports that indicate people have gone and actually checked the system that was saying that there was a malfunction in the system, and for all intents and purposes, those systems actually appear to be fine.
It's more network.
Yeah.
Comms.
So it's no, it's more like the like the wiring. It's the actual physical infrastructure of the messaging construct, right? So it's actually the wires that are running backwards and forwards that seem to be intermittently faulting. It could be comms, it could be computing and those sorts of things, but it's not the actual physical infrastructure in the cases where the electrical faults have been traced. So, there was a warning light saying the fusion reactor was going to blow up in 10 minutes, which, needless to say, created a degree of concern. However, on analysis, the fusion reactor was completely fine, but the messaging, so the warning and alarms were being triggered by an intermittent electrical fault.
Right. So something might be chewing up the insulation of the cables or something.
Something like that could be occurring. Jaeger, read the paperwork. Okay, with 3 successes. Yes, a lot of people are not telling the truth in the paperwork. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are submitting reports that they've done things which clearly they have not done. So they've either, it's that classic story. I don't know how much you know about fraud in paperwork, but one of the things that occurs a lot is when people are committing fraud in paperwork, they tend to do all of their fraud in a single hit. So they will do all of their papers, their fraudulent papers, sort of in the evening, and then they'll submit them in a single block. So one of the dead giveaways is when stuff is submitted, right? Because it's all submitted in a giant block rather than spread out through the day when people are actually doing the activities. And you're seeing a lot of those sorts of behaviors, right? So there's a lot of indications that people are, sitting back in their rooms, filling in all their papers as opposed to filling them on the, on the board when they're meant to be filling them in. And they're being submitted sort of after when they should be done. Mohammed Sultana. So there are definitely issues with the recycling system, and they're not electrical faults. So there is a build-up of various toxic, things in the recycling system that the recycling system is meant to keep on top of. So it's not, zoomp, as in the recycling system has literally failed, and therefore it is no longer doing its job. It is right? So it is incrementally getting worse, and your analysis suggests that could actually be a result of a feedback loop in the recycling system. So there's something going on in the recycling system that's building upon itself. And sorry, James, Paul, that is. I've literally forgotten what your question was, which is terrible, but it is 5:45, so I'm giving myself a pass.
It was whether or not there was any common problem. I was looking to see. I've forgotten it myself now. I was looking to see if there was any common cause or common factors across the faults that might be causing it, like they are all in areas where there's lots of sea spray, or they are, from what you've just told Sultana, it sounds like people haven't been changing the air scrubbers. So the common problem is people, but yeah.
So it's probably telling you what you've already heard through me describing it to everyone else, but there are 2 fundamental things happening to the systems, and they aren't innately connected in your mind. So they might be, but first glance suggests they're 2 separate problems. So one is that the recycling system, which recycles the colony's waste under the control center, is clearly starting to fail. And the keyword being starting to fail, right? So there's that incremental upwards movement of failure. And then there's a second issue, which is very much what Oscar's focused on, which is there's a failure in the electrical systems themselves. Now, those are in effect 2 manifestly different problems, right? Because the rest of the underlying systems are not showing the failure that the recycling system is showing. But obviously where you're getting reporting or where you're getting warning signals from the recycling system, you're getting the actual issues on the recycling system plus the electrical issue. Everywhere else, you're just getting the electrical issue, if that makes sense. So that's what you're able to glean from all the paperwork. So I guess the next question for all of you is, do you share all of that? Does anyone not share their information with the rest of the group is almost what I want to ask.
I'm sharing.
Always
No,
happy to share.
we like
I'm
to
over
share
it.
because we want to see if Commissar Blatchman does what he usually does and shrug his shoulders and try and work out how he can save his arse.
Guy's the man for the job. A degree of enlightened self-interest.
Yeah,
Well,
as we
I
discussed
mean, I
in
think the
his
bigger
face
question is
going
if I
pale.
actually understand what any of it means. You're probably
Commissar,
saying all
it's
these.
like-
You're probably all having a really good chat with each other and going, "Oh, look, this means this thing's happening," and I'm just sitting there, like,
Yes,
What?
yes, you're right. You're right.
So, Commissar, it's like you never left the room that you were in 2 minutes ago. It's just that there's more voices now, all saying things that you don't understand. However, the one thing you probably do understand is people not putting in their paperwork appropriately.
yeah, that seems a big problem. So, of those people who weren't putting in those, so he gave me a couple of names as well. Are these people
Yes.
the people
Oh, that's
on
a
that
full
list who
list.
were giving those?
Correct.
Okay.
So we will assign names as required, but we'll start with Yavana.
Okay. Well,
So
we've got a
Yavana
list of
is
the.
one of the many, maintenance, engineering staff that operates the key these key systems and keeps the lights on, and no one ever pays any attention to.
All right. Yeah. So I don't know. You guys are the technical guys here. I don't know what our priority should be. Whether it should be going to sort these systems, or whether it should be going to talk to the people who are meant to be sorting these systems. That's you're the experts. I'm just the guy in charge.
That sounds like a great thing to discuss to decide, actually, as a commissar, right? Priorities.
Well, yes,
We
but
just
as
fix
I lack the technical expertise in these
It might be
areas,
useful, if I may advise, it might be useful to speak to the people who were supposed to repair this to find out whether they've been there, whether they found any difficulty, or whether they actually repaired it and just broke again.
okay, then we shall track down these people and go have a chat with them. See what information they have to share.
All right. So, how do you want to tackle that? Do you want to summon them to you, or do you want to go to them?
Something.
Yeah, that this involves less walking if I just summon them. I can sit here and try and slowly process what any of this is.
So how would you like to summon them? Do you just send them a message on the comm system, across the speakers, Comrade Yavana, could you please present yourself to, meeting room 23 in the operations center?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe just report. Maybe there's some malfunctioning in the report center, and she summon her.
Well, I think we can leave it vague. Just not say anything about what it's about.
Okay.
People in the UPP are used to vague.
This could be the introduction to, to an opportunity to progress in the fine governance structures that underpin the success of the UPP. It could also be something else. All right. So you do that. There's quite a bit of a wait, but about a half an hour later, which is quite a significant amount of time. It's not that big a place. There's a tentative knock at the door. You're all still sitting around the table, I assume, looking at papers and analysing things.
Do we all want to sit on one side of the table and have them sit on the other, like a interview?
Well, best practice in the UPP would suggest that's exactly what you do.
Sure, okay, everyone get to this side of the table. And then
it's not like it's not an interrogation.
That is true. And once everyone's on this side, I shall declare that they can enter.
All right. She's a quite tall, quite robust woman. She's wearing, the sort of standard UPP overalls that the colony gets around in. The first thing that strikes you is she looks exhausted. She looks completely shattered. Not dissimilar to the eyes you see before you right now. And she sort of steps into the room incredibly tentatively and is obviously quite concerned as soon as she sees this this panel, if you will, of 5 people on one side, and in the middle of the panel, I can only assume the commissar looking, serious. Yes.
Take a seat. We have some important matters to discuss.
Okay. So I assume you've just got one chair on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Right. So she sits in the middle of this table. So you're all sort of curved around her, sort of. She's on one side of the table by herself. There's there's probably glasses in front of all of you. No glass for her because this is how the UPP undertakes these sorts of conversations.
It's not. I'll pour her a glass of water and walk around.
Oscar breaks ranks.
Yeah, of course I do.
What are you doing?
That's not how the UPP should work.
But it's how it does.
Oh, no, it isn't.
We all brother and sister here.
That's right.
Indeed.
We're all comrades.
Took half an hour getting here. You could have had a drink on the way.
No, we're not. I'm being paid for by LaSalle, not you commie buggers.
All right.
Whoa. You can't say that to our faces.
Just drops it on the table.
I think I have in all of the previous episodes, Connor.
It's a fair point. He's not held back on his opinions of UPP governance. So she's sitting there. She's looking at you. She now has a glass of water, making her instantly feel more comfortable, but also slightly suspicious that there might be something in the water. And she looks at you. Yes. What is this about?
So I'm seeing right here, and I'm probably jabbing it completely the wrong piece of paper. It says that you have not been, or you've been falsifying reports of work done on systems. Someone say what systems they are. One of you. Chime in anytime, guys.
Recycling systems.
Yeah, the recycling system. Sultana throws recycling systems on the table like a threat dropping from above.
And, it's critical that we know why. We can't have people not doing their duties. And even worse than not doing them is falsifying the fact that they have done stuff.
Okay, can I get a, I think it's a command roll, I think would be more appropriate than a manipulation roll, because you're kind of, I imagine you're kind of shouting at her about this, right? Like it's very sort of, you haven't been filling in, you haven't been doing your job in effect.
Yeah, probably.
Or are you showing an empathetic side, one that we haven't seen from the commissar before?
I don't know. Either way, it's the same number of dice, so...
Well, but it matters from
okay.
how she's going to respond.
No, I think initially I'm probably going into it somewhat stern.
Yes, so I definitely feel that's a command roll, because you're sort of exerting your authority.
Yeah. So that is one success.
Okay. So you're shouting and she's kind of closing in as a result of this kind of, verbal assault. Why have you not been filling in these papers? You point to a piece of paper, you say, see, right here, you didn't fill it in. She's looking at the piece of paper going, but that's not my signature. And moving on. But look, under the extreme pressure of the situation, she breaks down into tears. Almost instantaneously. It's the ghosts.
Ghosts?
You don't understand. You haven't been in the maintenance tunnels.
And what are you saying is in the maintenance tunnels?
Ghosts.
Spectres. Come on, we're long past that sort of superstitions.
Well, it's also not at all appropriate in the UPP, religion and such things are the opium of the masses kind of arrangement to, believe in the supernatural.
Yes. Come on, you're pulling our leg.
No, you don't understand. I saw my sister. She's been dead for 10 years.
And you're... never mind. I was about to say something completely inappropriate. But, but I will restrain myself.
And whereabouts did you see her? Any particular location or all over the place?
Whenever I go into the tunnels, first of all, you hear them. Just hear their voices. And then you can smell. And then they just come out of the walls. I don't think you understand. It's terrifying down there. The whole crew has seen them. It's not just me.
The whole crew has seen your sister.
Well, no, they've seen their own ghosts.
Simultaneously? Like, are you seeing the same thing and seeing it as two different things, or?
No, you don't understand. And she starts to break down. Like, she's having a complete breakdown at this point as you try and sort of drill into it, right? So she starts to break down, and it's like, no, you don't understand. There are ghosts, and everyone's seeing them. Sam from the Lascelles team, even he's seen them. It's not just me.
I don't even know how to react. This is clearly nonsense. I'm not saying that to her.
Sounds to me like the medical. It sounds to me like the maintenance team's been sucking on the magic pipes.
As the maintenance team, as the maintenance team, have we heard any of these rumors floating around?
Can I get you to make a... Sorry, guys, I don't have a character sheet in front of me. So, Mohammed, just choose whatever skill you think is appropriate for sort of listening to rumors, hearing scuttlebutt.
Maybe it's an observation, I guess.
Yep, because it's aliens and everything fits under observation.
Okay, I only have 2 dice in observation, so she's not a very observant person. 0 successes.
No. So, Sultana, as always, you've just been moving through that space, completely oblivious to all of the hearsay, and not to your awareness.
You're not one to listen to rumors while doing your work.
Exactly.
While this conversation's going on, can James just lean over to Oscar and say, Oscar, can you jump on a terminal and see if you can pull up her medical reports, see when she had her last checkup?
Yeah, sure. Let me have a look.
Because you're a scientific type person.
Can I get you to make a role.
Comtech?
Yep, definitely Comtech. I was going to
Which I
say
have.
Data Gin, but that was going to give away the game by GM normally.
I can assist in Comtech if you want.
You can do it if you like.
I only have 3 dice.
Same here. So if you assist me, I've got 4. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, so you guys are muttering on one side of the table. Just to ask the question, neither of you are medical staff, right? So you don't actually have access.
I have 1 in medic.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you can add the medical dice as an additional dice.
In that case, I roll 1 extra die.
Yeah.
Which is a success.
Muhammad goes, no, you just need the access code, and types it into the keyboard over your shoulder. It's like types in his I'm a trained medical professional, or at least vaguely trained. The record opens up. So what do you want to know?
I guess, has she been on any psychotropic drugs? Has she been to see somebody for consultation?
When did she have her last medical?
And no.
How long since she had her last medical?
It's been at least 3 months. Oh, actually, yeah, it's been about 3 months. So remember when the fungal infestation occurred? So everyone was vaccinated, right? Or treated with the antifungal agent, whatever we want to call it. So everyone went through that process. So everyone got a medical checkup as part of that. But no one had, but now they're back to a sort of rolling assessment. So we'll say about 3 months since that occurred. And there's no sign of, it's been 3 months, and no, at that point she wasn't showing any delusional behaviors, and she has not been prescribed any psychotropic drugs.
Can I ask her when these ghosts started appearing?
You can ask her, by all means. Well, it's been happening for about the last month, and it's been getting worse. Like, more of the team have been seeing them.
Has what's his name? I was talking to him earlier. Gus been down there himself.
Maybe. I mean, normally, yes, he would have gone down there at some point. I mean, he's very diligent. He likes to check over people's work.
Okay. I was curious that he's not gone to check up on his people doing work down there. I have to mention that in the next meeting.
So, do you know if people are seeing the same things that are responsible for looking after the electrical systems?
Well, anyone who goes into the tunnels. So the electrical systems run through the tunnels.
And the waste thing does as well.
The waste thing is in the middle of the tunnel structure, yeah. Well, not in the middle, but to one side.
Can we check any footage?
There is no footage. But just so you know, this is kind of what the under tunnels look like. And that sort of black area with the little, beaker symbol is the recycling system.
Okay.
And this bigger tunnel going south, south conceptually, is the under tunnel that runs underneath the main connection between the two sides of the colony.
Okay.
And these are lifts that you take to get into the maintenance area.
I don't know if you're pointing, but we can't see your mouse.
So. Sorry. Yeah, I am pointing. So unfortunately, the mouse. I probably. No, it doesn't matter.
There he is.
No, yeah. Okay, all right. That's not going to work.
When it moves.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yes. So you've got that.
Okay.
Do we know from what we've read if there are any air quality monitors down in these tunnels?
Not really. No. Which is probably an oversight.
We can take a small animal in a cage with us.
Possibly a hamster.
Take a biosensor with you.
Yeah, so there are air quality facilities that go into the colony proper. So if things are being filtrated, like obviously there's monitoring of the air coming out of the systems, but not in the maintenance staffs themselves. Okay. So what would you like to do, guys?
I'll tell Yavanna, whatever her name is, she can leave.
Okay. As she goes to leave, as she walks out the door, she says, "It's not just us, you know. If you go down there, you'll see them too." And that's her final words as she closes the door behind her.
Well, that's comforting.
Can I just go after her? Because I had one more question.
Sure. This. So Oscar gets up from the desk, runs around the corner, and charges off down the corridor.
Wait.
Yavanna is sort of moving quite hurriedly away from the meeting. Oh, sorry, Iago.
It's Oscar running after her with her unfiltered water.
That's right. Drink this. You didn't drink the water. I don't want to drink the water. You gotta drink the water. Anyway.
I just want to ask her, have you found any way of talking to your sister or making her go away?
No. The only thing that works is I just don't go down there anymore. And she sort of turns as she says that and just sort of shuffles off, even more defeated than she was when she left the room.
Oh, well done me. I go back in.
So, back to the conference center. What are you going to do, guys?
I mean, I feel somewhat that, we should go down there and dispel these fears over ghosts that these colonists feel, get their stuff back in action and tell them all to get back down there.
But
that's certainly the sort of thing that a brave leader type from the UPP would be expected to do, Commissar.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm suggesting.
So, Commissar, you're going to go down there.
We're going to go down there.
Let's be clear. This isn't a meeting.
I'm volunteering us all.
It's odd. The deterioration of the air recycling system.
It's not air. It's the
recycling system. Is that when Sultana was looking at the charts of it degrading? Was that like over the last month or so?
Give or take.
Strange that, isn't it?
And is that the same with the electrical glitches?
No, the electrical glitches predate the failure of the a recycling system and have been growing in occurrence at their own rate.
I guess maybe there is something down there in the air that make people hallucinate, so we need to get our masks before we need to fix this systems before it deteriorates any longer. The chart is not going good, and this reading is over a month ago, so we need to go as soon as possible.
I guess we do have like exosuits or dive suits or something we can wear if necessary.
Sure.
Breathing masks, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess breathing mask will be okay. I don't know the reading. We need to get a reading for the air down in the maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But this short, nobody has went months ago, so
yeah,
the place is deteriorating.
So can we sort of do a cutscene? So what equipment are you taking down into the tunnels? And I don't need a giant list. I just want what things specifically do you want to call out that you're taking into the tunnels?
Of course, the trusty torch.
Trusty torch. Good.
Yeah.
Yep. Served you well so far. The most powerful weapon in Alien.
And the flashlight, of course.
Yep.
I'll bring my gun.
Excellent.
Just for security reasons.
Absolutely.
Guns
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
against Ghost.
Yeah, tools and repair kits.
Yeah.
James is gonna go all out. He's gonna put his survival suit on.
Right. So you've got like the whole
Eco worlds, air, oxygen, the lot.
So is it the full-on Alien Prometheus kind of suit with the full-on face mask sort of thing? Okay. All right. Okay. Yep.
It's an eco all-world survival suit.
So those things are really bulky.
They are.
Okay. All right.
I am only a gas mask or a breathable mask with oxygen.
So like
I think
a sort of breather mask with a pipe running off it to a independent oxygen supply.
With an air filter. Yeah.
Yep.
Can we have some sort of biosensor of some sort?
So James actually has pups.
I've got pup.
Oh, nice. We can send them down to scout out.
No, remember, all pups will do is really give us an idea of what's around. It does give us atmospheric conditions. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But also,
they're actually quite comprehensive.
Also, I'm fairly sure they can scan for like movement and stuff. So if these ghosts are actual physical things, then they should pick them up.
We have used, or some might say abused, using the pups in the past.
What's the point of having them if you don't use them?
Yeah,
but they keep getting broken. Them are the babies.
Small side note: the least alien piece of technology in Alien, because what if there's a monster around the corner? I send my pup. It can detect all these things. Did we really think that piece of equipment through from a game perspective? I have a question. Okay.
So James will take pups as well because people feel happier when he's got them.
So you've got an exoscoot, you've got the big goggles on that let you see what the pups are seeing, and you've got the pups hovering sort of around your head.
Yeah, I must look like a right.
Just to get the image that we have here.
Yes.
You're the ghost.
And Jaeger, what are you taking?
I think that a tool set would be in addition to the mask, a tool set, flashlight, and a ComTech unit that would allow for us to help diagnose any wiring harness issues or any other electronics that might be need to be diagnosed as well.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And Oscar, you mentioned a few things. Could you just run back over them for me?
What did I mention? I mentioned toolkits. Yeah.
Yep.
I mentioned, as I said, some sort of biosensor, but we covered that off.
Yep.
Probably take some food on there.
Some food? Could be a long walk.
Good. Could be a long walk. You never know how long you can get stuck.
Yeah, but you're going to have to take your breather off to put the food in, surely. That's the point.
No, he pulls out this big, vitamin shot and goes, no, it's fine. I just jammed this right in the arm. It's good.
Never go anywhere without something to eat and drink.
Or is it to lure ghosts?
I'm just thinking, I'm taking my cattle prod with me.
The cattle prod, nice.
I always have that on me.
All right, so you've got a cattle prod. Sultana's got the cutting torch. The commissar's got a gun.
And my baton.
And your baton. Yep. James, you've just got, Bert and Ernie hovering one on each side of your head, possibly painted in the motif of Bert and Ernie, which confuses everyone because no one gets, ancient Earth, humor. And Jaeger, you've taken your toolbox, You've got the rebreather mask. You've got a few other pieces of equipment. I don't remember you mentioning anything that's particularly weapon orientated, just to confirm.
Well, he does have a UDAV service pistol that he doesn't tell the commissar about, but he will keep that on him as colloquially as possible.
Yep. So he will hide that in his jumpsuit if it's needed. Okay.
I'd love to see how paranoid the UPP members of the party are, because they're all the ones taking the weapons.
And the cell guy's like, hey, it's
to go into some service tunnels in their own base.
I'm like the security officer. I don't go anywhere without my weapons.
It's true.
My weapon is to protect me from the party.
In the macro and possibly the micro versions of that statement.
Exactly.
All right. The way to get into the maintenance shafts is actually a pair of elevators. I'll see if I can do. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I'll just go to sharing. Just put you to one side there. So now you can see my mouse. Okay. So these are the elevators. This is actually underneath the commissar's office, in case you're wondering what the little star represents. That's directly underneath the commissar's office.
What is that, the toilet?
No, that's the toilet. So broadly speaking, you've got the cells here above this area. So there's a series of cells. You've got the commissar's office here. Over here in this general area, you've got all of the big sort of command bridge kind of, operations center activity. And then you've got a range of like stores and other things running along these sides. These two things over here are like a little escape pods. So therefore, if the base was to be swamped in some direction, you can actually launch directly into the water. So if there was storm swells or other things, you can actually launch underwater. Little sort of bathysphere type escape pods that pop up. That's obviously an emergency medical sort of point. So if someone's injured badly in the maintenance tunnels, you can run there and, get the defibrillator and put it on someone or whatever you need to do. As per the notes, these are basically the entry points to the recycling center from above. So that's where the toilets are. This is a sort of comms unit, and that's an airlock going out underwater. Okay.
How deep are we now?
As in deep underwater?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're only 5 or so meters, right? So, and you're actually a lot of the tunnels are actually dug through land. Like you're not surrounded by water on every side, but these are like these are emergency escape points should there be storm swells, and the safest thing to do is to evacuate actually underwater. To avoid, tsunami-like conditions. And like I said, this is a sort of airlocky thing, so you can get directly underwater to do various maintenance activities. But a lot of the tunnel structure is actually on the island itself, not in the water.
Okay.
As evidenced by these two ladder symbols, which take you back up onto the island proper. Okay, so you come down in one or both of these lifts. I assume you all travel in one lift for no apparent reason other than why would you not?
I don't see a reason not to.
Sultana, she's a very big woman. So, okay.
Okay, the lifts are a classic example of maintained to just the level of maintenance required to operate. So they rattle and shake as they take you down the total of, the equivalent of 2 floors. But it feels like it takes forever because these are not priority infrastructure for the base. and so they sort of rattle down. The floors themselves are all sort of metal grating, so all of the floors you're stepping on make that sort of, that thumping noise that you make on metal grating as you move around. So you pop out into the corridor proper. What would you like to do, folk?
All right. So the recycling stuff is in the center there. The wiring stuff issues, where would they be?
Well, the
specific location, or
electrical no. So the electrical conduits run all along all of the tunnels. So it's a bit of a open up a couple of panels wherever you want to open up panels. But most of the faults obviously are co-located underneath the operations center itself. So over in this side of the thing.
All right. So I guess we'll head in that general direction as it's on the way to both targets.
How's the air quality?
Can I get is anyone actually a scientist? Does anyone have the science talent?
No.
Okay. All right. Can I get an observation roll? I assume it's from James, who's operating the pups.
Yep.
An important question, James. Are you just keeping them next to you, or are you sending them out?
Well, we've only just got out the lift, so
yes.
But yes, as we'll take an initial reading here, and then we'll send them off in the direction we're going to go, which I assume is going to be to the
down this
right.
side.
We're going to go that way, or
if we've got two, we send one either way.
they're a bit difficult to control. I'm not sure I can. I'd have different readings in each eyeball. It'd send me around the bend. But anyway, I rolled 2 successes.
Okay. The air readings are normal. I mean, there's a lot of particulate matter in the air, right? Like, there's rust and there's biological matter moving through the air. So I am going to limit the pups. Like, they're not a full sort of, analysis suite in a box. So there's no toxins that are harmful to humans that you can detect.
Oh, that's the key, really. Okay.
So the atmospheric levels are broadly within human tolerance. There's a bit more carbon dioxide down here than you'd probably like, but it's not, deadly or dangerous. And generally, the air mix in the tunnels is the same as the colony proper.
Right. Because carbon dioxide poisoning is known to cause hallucinations.
Yeah.
Right. So, which way are we going? Then to the left or to the right?
So, do you want to go this way or this way? A, B.
I mean, B's a more direct route. There's fewer turns. We have to see what's going on ahead of us.
Okay. If you're going to go that way, can I send the pups down that way first, and just when they get to the junction,
this one,
that one there. When they get to that junction, can I get another reading from them?
Sure. Okay. Are you guys moving off while the pups move at speed ahead of you?
Yeah, I'm moving.
Okay.
Slowly, I think.
I'm gonna move, but I'm not racing.
Yeah, same.
I want the pups to hit that junction and get a reading from them before I go there.
We will allow the commissar to lead from behind.
So I'm
watching your backs, keeping you all safe.
All right. So the pups are moving ahead and are scanning, obviously, for life forms, I assume. They're generally checking whether the air quality stays persistent, and they're just doing their usual, laser mapping of the space as they move through.
Yep.
Sort of LiDAR kind of style activity.
Yep.
Can I get you to make a piloting roll for me, please?
Oh, no successes. I better push that.
All right.
Don't want to crash him.
Well, I got 1 success and 1 stress roll.
Nice.
And can I point out I've got nerves of steel, which means I get a -2 on stress rolls.
That's
You
useful.
can.
Yeah.
So you send the pups spinning around the corner. They zip down the corridor at great rate, and then just before the juncture, just about here, they detect a life form for just a second. They're speeding past and they detect a life form, and then you have to sort of whoa, and you pull them back, right? So you're sort of and you try and bring them back to get a proper reading of what's going on. At the same time, you guys are sort of about here, moving down the corridor. By the way, this is not at all to scale, and I'm not going to sort of do scale because it's alien, so I don't have to. Yay! But you're moving sort of cautiously, but not incredibly slowly, I assume, down the corridor, sort of looking around with your torches and doing various things. There is lighting down here, but once again, it's intermittent, right? So the lighting is flickering and fading as you go. So you pull the pups up here. They detected a life form for just a second. They definitely detected a life form. And you hear for just a moment a sort of clattering sound, like lots of little feet on the steel, on the metal stuff, like a, and then it goes away.
Is that where we are or where the pups are?
No, that's what the pups have heard.
Okay, just clarifying.
Diego, as you come around the corner, you hear just the slightest. You hear something that sounds like earth sliding, like that sound that sand makes when it starts to run down the side of a sand dune. That sort of that sound of sand kind of running over sand. Mm-hmm. Just for a second, as you come around the corner, you just hear that sound.
Just a slight hiss.
Yeah, just that hiss of sand on sand or something similar.
Just a quick question here. Under the grating or the flooring, is there a channel for runoff of any water?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
so one of the things you notice, and this is your first turn in the maintenance tunnels because you're a new arrival, you've not been around. So there's water everywhere. Like there's water dripping down the tunnels. And probably your first realization is we've got steel grating and constant sort of, water penetrating the system and running down it. Maybe that's not the best set of materials for that sort of thing. But yes, so when you're examining the grating, you can see there's rust sort of spreading underneath the grating. So there's clearly rust. And yes, there's a channel with water running in it. I'm sort of heading down towards this juncture.
Mm. And is there any ripples or anything of that nature in the water under the grating? If I need to use my flashlight to help illuminate, I will do so.
Sure. So you're literally parked over the grating with your torch, like, sort of shining down between the little gaps in the grating to sort of see, or are you actually lifting the grating off to examine it?
No, it'll just remain standing. I'll put my arms out to try to stop anyone else from passing just in case, and mention I heard a hissing and having a look.
Okay. Make a observation roll for me, please.
All right. Have I been able to relieve any of the stress that I had received?
You have not.
Time? Okay. Excellent. Just what I needed. 1 success.
Okay. So you're looking down into the water, and you don't see actual ripples. So you don't see like sort of little wavelets, running down the water. But you see what looks like it might have been like a stone, like a stone's fallen into the water. So you see ripples sort of moving away. So rather than being a waveform running down, when you're shining the torch down into the water through the grates, you can sort of see maybe just underneath you, you can see sort of, it looks like something has sort of hit the water and then the water's kind of, pushed out as a result.
Something just moved.
Okay.
Step back and shine the light, try to show that there's ripples in the water.
Okay. Can I get an observation roll from everyone else, please?
Sure. Observation 5.
I got on 5 dice rolled, all of them were 4s. So
there has
no
been a push
successes.
for 4s to become the new success, as I understand it. So
1 success for me.
I support that in this roll.
okay. So 1 success from Oscar. Did Sultana get a success?
0.
Okay, Oscar, you're looking down into the water, looking for these ripples. You don't see the ripples. You're not sure what he's talking about, but of course you're looking through the grates, so the ripples would be, they're hard to see, right? Like you're looking through these little pinprick holes, in effect. But it looks like the watercolor's kind of wrong. Maybe it's kind of muddy brown or something. Like it's a bit browner / redder than you expected. Maybe it's the rust. It's probably just the rust in the water.
That water ain't clean.
No wonder why you offered it to Yvonne.
That wasn't that water.
Okay. James, you've pulled the pups back. Are you scanning for the life form?
Yes, please.
Can I get you to make an observation roll,
rats.
please?
A single success.
Okay. Definitely movement, but it's now zipped off. So you pull it back, you replay the recording rather than, you sort of replay the recording through the interface. And yep, there was definitely something there. There was clearly a read. And then whatever it was, it scuttled off at speed. And by the time you'd gotten the pups back to where they detected it, it had moved off. Possibly going under the grates, based on what people are saying around you, because you can obviously hear all this conversation about, there's movement in the water underneath us in the channel.
I relate this information to the rest of them.
Yep.
Tell them sort of over the suit speakers and just say, detected movement up front. I've gone back and tried to look at it, but it's gone. It could just be rats. There was a scampering type, ratty type, skippy, tippy tappy noise.
I can't believe it was rats that scared these UPP workers. Disgraceful.
Is there
Not for me to
anybody?
comment, Commissar.
Is there anybody in shift today?
Is there anyone on shift today down here? Not that you've seen.
Okay.
Okay, so do you continue to move along the tunnels towards your objective?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Let's just keep an eye out. Yeah.
How the structure is looking?
So there is definitely damage being caused to the tunnels. Well, not damage. So there's rust, right? There's rust appearing everywhere. So there's quite an aggressive level of rust starting to form in these tunnels. But you are literally a facility park next to a sea. So, and the tunnels are metallic, and more importantly, a reactive metallic. So you are getting rust, you are getting water, you're probably getting sort of algal kind of, sort of that long stringy green algal sort of growth hanging down through some of the water runs as sort of it forms up and starts to breed down here. Now, normally all of this is kept to a large extent under control by the maintenance teams who come down and, clean this stuff out while they're doing their other business.
So nobody has doing any business for months, it seems.
Even in these parts where, there's clearly no ghosts here.
That's right. None whatsoever. Okay. So you continue to move down. Are you just hovering the pups until you catch up, James? Or
yes, I think I'm just going to leave them in that area. What's the round thing to the left of your? What's at the end of the corridor?
I've got a post-it note there.
Okay.
Oh, that's a comm. That's a comm. That's an intercom.
Oh right, okay. And to the right is a toilet.
Yeah, well, that's what's
never
above
have
you.
enough.
So that's the entry point into the recycling system. The actual entrance to the recycling system is over here.
I thought you might say that.
Oh.
I even put a door there to make it easy to tell.
Yeah, that's why I wondered why the commissar wanted to go to the left.
Look like a shot away.
I thought we could enter through this side, but clearly reading maps is not one of my skills as a
Yet
commissar.
another skill that we found the commissar doesn't have.
I
get other people to read the maps for me.
Exactly right.
I suspect, Commissar, you probably thought it was worth doing a reconnoitre of the entire area before we went in there.
Yeah, full loop around, secure the perimeter. This was entirely planned.
Henceforth, James, student of Inspector Zoo, Hutton.
I was just going to say, he's not here, so somebody would have to say it.
That's right. And all the UPP people are nodding sagely, thinking, "Yes, he understands finally how to get promotion, how to get promoted in the UPP. He's one step away." Okay, you hit that juncture. The pups are still there. Now you were getting them to monitor the air quality, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You can make another observation roll if you would like.
Okay. I got 2 successes.
Nice. Pretty much the same as before.
Should we have a air value in our tanks or whatever that we're wearing?
You mean like a supply?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I play pretty loose with those rules.
Okay.
So just to be transparent, the way I play air supply is if you have panic, we worry about air supply.
Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, I assume that considering in 2020, we can produce spacesuits that can store 8 hours of oxygen supply for a person, that it's otherwise not a problem.
Okay. Cool. Just wanted to check.
Okay. So you come around the corner. You're here. There's, for those of you who are not wearing, so you're all wearing separate oxygen supplies, so you're not really getting any smells or anything, right? But you can hear, sort of more machinery sounds coming from this area, and clanging and other things, like the recycling system is active and operating, and so there's a sort of chugging, churning sound coming from that space. Down towards this area, as you've moved forward, you can see that you've got... okay, so you've got the dark. Now there's almost no light down here, so all of the lighting has failed in this area, so you've literally only got your torches as you move past this juncture point, right? So you just got your torches flashing around in the darkness.
Are there any panels on the wall that one of you can go into and try and get the lights or the power back and flowing?
I think we should go to the wall.
You can hear, sort of, more machinery sounds coming from this area, and so there's a sort of chugging, churning sound coming from that space.
Okay.
Well, there are panels. Does anyone want to open the panels?
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. So, right. So you get the tool set out and sorry, that's coffee being ground in the background. You know, sort of take off the panel. You don't need to make a roll. It's, you know, pretty standard stuff. You pull the panel away from the thing, and as you grab the panel, as you're holding the panel, it's really hot. It's like burning hot in your hands. You feel your hands burning when you grab the panel.
This is not how it's supposed to be. This is
No,
burning.
like it's actually painful. Like you've grabbed the panel and it's, you know, now do you want to try and hold on to the panel or do you just drop it?
Just drop it.
Okay, so you drop the panel on the ground and your hands feel like they're burning.
The panel is burning hot.
Okay.
That doesn't sound right. I don't know a lot about electronics, but, you know, the panels housing the electronics being hot is probably not a good sign.
Probably not.
Jaeger
All right, so what
will,
do the rest of you do? Muhammad's like shaking their hands, obviously, and sorry, Sultana's shaking their hands and moving away from the very hot panel.
Jaeger will flashes or shine his light on her hands, take a evaluation of her condition.
Okay.
Just shine the light into the cubby hole behind the panel.
Yep. So when you shine the light onto the hands, there's no apparent burns. Can I get you to make a wits roll for me, please? Just wits.
She touches her face. She's got a burn mark on her right side of her face, so she touched it a little bit.
So she's lifted her hands up and away from the light and is brushing her face. Yeah. Jaeger, what did you get for your wits roll, please?
I had 4 dice. I have 1 success.
Okay. So you're looking at the hands, and she swears that she's just picked up something that was so hot that, like, it burnt, right? You can't see any signs of burns on the hands.
Was it cold?
No, it was burning hot. Like my hand were on fire. It was real fire. And she touches also her face again. Her burn mark again. I don't know. It was burning hot.
Switch the lamp target from her hands down to the panel. Is there any...
which is now sort of slid down and is lying sort of, you know, slightly levered against the wall. It's sort of pushed down into the side of the grate and is sort of, you know, standing up. I'll guess I know what you're looking for. You can't see any signs of heat rising from the panel, and it doesn't appear to have a different color to the one that you would expect it to have. Oscar, you were shining your torch into the space. Yep. Can you make a heavy machinery roll for me, please?
Sure. And I counted 5, yeah. 3 successes.
Jesus, you guys are rolling well. Okay. Okay, so you shine your torch in, and you can see that a number of the plastic casings on a number of the electrical pieces has started to degrade.
So is it the insulation? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So the plastic insulation on the wires themselves has shows signs of degradation.
Okay, I'll have a closer look. What caused that? Is it some sort of acid burn? Is it drying out? What is it?
So you have a much closer look. You're paying attention. Can I get you to make an Actually, yeah, it's got to be observation. I really need
Observation.
more skills. Anyway.
Only one success.
Okay. So you're looking really carefully at this. The wires, they look like they're maybe, it's really weird because it looks like there's little shards of bone embedded in the wires, like little specks of white calcified bone has replaced the plastic. So as you're staring at it with this intense gaze, you can see your torch reflecting off that.
All right. Anybody got any pincers in the toolkit?
I open my. Could I? I'm still.
Commissar Tan goes, no. You're not using my pincers. Therefore,
I got a gun.
I'll use my own one.
You can get long-nosed pliers. That's probably the closest thing you have.
That'll work. I'll see whether I can remove one of those shards.
Okay, so you're carefully picking this, what appears to be bone, out of the wires. You're holding it and you're looking at it, and it's absolutely looks like little shards of bone, maybe like but splintered.
Are those possibly
Look at
teeth?
that. I show it to the others.
Okay, so you're showing these shards of bone to everyone. James, are you sort of, lifting up the goggles to get a better view of what he's flashing around, or are you, still pup 101?
Well, if he said these wires look like they've got bones in, I think I'll just lift the goggles up and have a look.
Yeah.
It's not something you hear every day.
No,
True.
It's not.
Okay.
These wires have got bones in them.
So you sort of lift up the HUD display that's obviously overlaid across the top of your exosuit, we'll just assume. Some sort of big giant visor thing that pops up. Everyone else who's looking at the bone, what you can see is degraded plastic, right? Like brittle, hard plastic. But
it's a human bone.
You don't see any bone.
So no one else sees bone.
Nope. Oscar's holding this up, and he is telling you it is pieces and shards of bone.
I just look at this. That's all I said.
Oh, you didn't say bone. You just said, "Look at this."
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So they're all looking. Okay. Well, you're all seeing the degraded plastic.
Am I meant to be seeing something?
Well, that shouldn't be in the cable insulation, should it?
Well, that's
You're the
why
expert.
That's why, but that's why Oscar's an agronomist.
Quote of the day.
Oscar's an agronomist, isn't he? He's not an electrician.
Absolutely.
Well, he's more expert than I am.
All right, so you're all looking at this broken plastic / pieces of bone.
I think James is going to say, the plastic's rotting off, and pops the visor back down and sends the pups off down the alley, down the corridor.
So that sort of. So you see them disappearing off into the distance. Their little LiDAR array lighting up the tunnel, and then they fade off down the tunnels as you do so.
Can we just fix what's broken here and get up?
So your suspicion is that it's going to take quite a bit. Like, I mean, if this is damage to one cable of this nature, you may need to redo quite significant portions of the electricals of the underlying system. But you'd need to confirm that by, checking a number of other panels around to see if the damage is sort of spread or if it's just located in one area.
Okay.
Are the rest of us aware of Jaegor's observation of the non-burned hands?
Hasn't said anything, but is looking at the panel on the ground. Probably got distracted by the plastic, looked at the plastics, gone back to looking at the panel.
Yeah. So are we certain that the electrical lines that we are looking at are those related to the lights, or do we have any idea what systems they may be associated with?
Yeah, it's a lot of systems. So the lighting is just one of the things that's being affected. So it's quite. So I mean, you just use different colored cables, but basically it's the same materials in each case. So this seems to be affecting most, if not all, of the different systems.
Wonderful.
So, judging by all your reactions, this isn't a quick fix.
I am surprised that this place is still standing.
You're filling me with confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaeger, you've been staring intently at this panel, right? Trying to work out what's going on. It's a fair comment, isn't it? I'll go with yes. So,
Sorry.
Okay. You feel, how you were talking about cold? You know how you were talking about it being really cold. So you suddenly get chills, right? Like you get these sort of whole body chill kind of go across your whole body. And there's really clearly, there's either a cold breeze or something's just changed in the environment, right? Like you can feel just this chill across your whole body. Like just for a second, you've been exposed to real cold, like really deep cold.
Have a glance around to see if there possibly is an air conditioning or air recycling unit that had possibly just kicked on.
Yep. So you have a look around. You're looking for the source of the cold. You can see in the corner, you know how we were talking about the damage, the panels and things like that. You can see that one of the panels has sort of slightly buckled out, just slightly further down the tunnel structure. So just around here, you can see that there's the sort of compression, like a panel's been pushed out.
Oh.
Almost like something's hit the panel somehow, from the inside, as the case may be, and sort of punched it outwards.
And that's certainly not part of ducting. It's a service panel of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And no one's hair is moving around or anything of that nature?
Not that you can see, no.
Gents, have a look. And I'll point out the panel down the hallway there.
Okay. In the darkness, you shine your light at the panel. Everyone else sees the panel. It seems to be, sort of pushed against the wall, as you'd expect. It's not anything, but there's a lot of rust and damage to the panel. At this point, you hear that noise under your feet.
Is that everyone?
Yes, you all hear that noise, except possibly James, who's busy listening, monitoring the pups. So he's like...
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Hold
realising
on, Inspector Zeus popped in with a message.
James is standing there not realising that everybody else has walked off 5 minutes ago and left him on his own.
He's like, all right. So
Yeah,
what do you do?
maybe we shouldn't be touching these panels if they're like boiling hot or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's maybe we should carry on and take a look at this unit.
All right. So
I think we're wasting time here.
Or are you going to head towards, sort of zip around and head? Well, you've kind of got to go here really at this point. But
yeah.
Okay. So you move further down the tunnels.
We'll drag
Commissar,
James along with us.
as you guys are moving down the tunnels, you hear running footsteps ahead of you.
There's someone up there.
Yep, clearly. You've heard these. You hear someone's feet like slamming onto the metal, running away from you around the corner. What do you do?
James, where are your pups? There's movement ahead of us. Can we check what it is?
The pups are in front of us. I sent the pups ahead.
How far in front of us? Where's? I don't know what's going on. There's something ahead of us.
20 or 30 feet in front of us, they are.
Right. Maybe it was further down. Can you speed them up?
For what?
I heard something up ahead.
So what are you going to do, James?
It's real faint, but I'm trained in all these security what's.
I suppose I'm waiting for a lead from the GM.
Well, no, it's up to you. What do you do?
Well, the pups are in front of us, and so far I've not heard it. You've not told me I've heard anything. So, Commissar, I've not read. I can't see or hear anything from the pups.
I didn't ask if you heard anything. I'm saying I heard something. Send them on.
They're 20 feet in front of us already.
Well, send them more feet in front.
Yeah, okay.
Oscar, you can hear, it must be the recycling systems, right? But you can hear the machinery grinding. Okay, like there's a grinding sound now, like something's caught in the machinery. Something is being sort of, like the machinery's kind of getting, blocked, and you can hear the gears grinding against each other more slowly.
I know where you're going with this.
I don't know what you're referring to, Frank. But you can hear grinding sounds coming from the recycling unit. Now, the only way you can get to the recycling unit is obviously to get around, but it's starting to sound like there might be something going wrong with the recycling unit.
I'll just share that with my colleagues and say, look, guys, there seems to be something stuck in the gears. Can you hear that?
You're the expert.
I'm not. I drive tractors.
This is the normal sound. I can't hear anything abnormal in the reactor.
Not the reactor, it's a recycler.
A recycler, sorry.
Now, Sultana, obviously, as a result of the recycling system starting to be damaged, not that you can hear the grinding as well as Oscar, so not sure about that. But it's getting warm in here. It's definitely getting hotter. Like maybe the recycling system itself is starting to break down. Like, it's feeling hotter in the space.
Yeah. This is completely. What's the temperature here? It's burning hot. Can stand this.
Feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm sweaty and can you feel the heat?
No.
That running footstep sound bizarrely has gotten louder in your ears, Commissar. Like it is definitely louder.
But it still sounds like it's running away.
It definitely sounds like it's running away. But somehow it's gotten louder. Maybe you're just paying attention to it now. Like when you
That's
first
clearly
heard it,
my senses are superior. I've just honed them in.
100%.
Must be it.
All right, I think we should double time it, guys.
All right.
Stop lollygagging. Let's get a move on.
Indeed. Let's go to the recycler. Let's get that machine fixed.
I'm going to push the pups all the way round to the recycler door.
Okay, so you're basically just going to buzz them all the way around here. Can I get a piloting roll? Because you're obviously trying to keep up with the people and control the pups at the same time.
Yep. Not walk into any walls.
Yeah.
And I got a single success.
Okay, so the pups go screaming around these corners. What you're probably sacrificing is sensor sort of readings, right? Like, because you can't do, you can't sort of do all the readings and pay attention to all that and navigate and walk.
Yep.
So one of the three has to give, and it's the readings themselves. So you've effectively stopped paying attention to what they're detecting, and you're just visually, guiding them around the corner. You guys all now start to move. Oh, sorry, I've had to. That's better. So you guys have now all sort of moved at speed. Is anyone not moving at speed, or is everyone keeping double time as the commissar sort of hurries you on?
I think we need to be swift.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come around this corner, and Jaeger, as you come around this corner, you can't hear those footsteps, but now you can hear maybe the sound of someone from around here. Like, it's a long way away, but you can hear what might be screaming or shouting or something to that effect. Like, there's voices. They're not clear. They're not distinct, but they're certainly noises. And human voices at that, and they're in distress.
Oh, that's unheard of in the UPP.
Correct.
I will run with the toolkit, trying to open it. Of course, trying to hold the flashlight, carry the bag, and run at the same time. Rifling through the bag, trying to find some heavy object such as a spanner or a hammer.
Yep. Absolutely.
And once it's discovered, I will leave the bag, drop the bag, and head around the corner with the flashlight as best I can.
Okay. So you're now running. So you guys all see Jaeger. He basically reaches into the bag, pulls out the biggest bloody spanner you've ever seen. This thing is, it's yay big, and it's got one of those giant heads for moving, the sort of, it's the emergency lock on the airlocks or something like that, like, the underwater airlock, so that you can unscrew things and get into them manually. And he basically just starts running down the corridor away from you. By the way, can everyone add 2 stress to their character except for James?
Except who?
James.
You must be really into fixing things.
That's right. So he's running down that corridor ahead of you. Are you guys giving chase, or are you just trusting that he's obviously in control of what he's doing? What's going on, guys?
I'm giving chase with him.
Okay. You run down the corridor after him.
I think I will pursue also.
Okay.
I'll stick with James and get my shock stick out, just in case.
Okay. So, Sultana, you can hear. You can now hear people. You can now definitely hear people. Like, it's definitely people, and you can hear like people banging on doors, like with their fists, with metallic objects. They're trying to get those doors down. Like you've heard before, like people trapped in a space, and they desperately want to get out. And you can hear this banging sound on the metallics as people are screaming and begging and shouting and banging on the doors.
We are coming. We are coming. Where are you?
Okay. Commissar. You can smell. You're hit by the smell of cordite, like you've already fired your firearm. You can smell like a gunshot. And it is like you have been hit in the face with it. So it's the most powerful, intense smell of cordite you have ever smelt.
I'll draw my weapon. And,
Okay.
I start advancing a bit more cautiously, stop sprinting into it.
Okay, can you make a wits roll for me, Commissar?
Oh dear.
Do I add stress to this?
You absolutely do.
There's no successes and a panic, so
roll that panic for me, will you?
That's a 5 total, so fine. Fine.
Fine, whatever. So close. Okay, okay, so you've drawn your weapon. You could smell that cordite, but hold on. You've got a face mask on.
Yeah, is there something in my oxygen tank?
Could be the explanation. Maybe there's
Malfunctioning.
something going wrong with the filters.
I don't know if it's safe to take it off. I'm no expert on these matters.
We'll establish that well and truly. Okay, so right now we've got Sultana and Jaeger running down the corridor, both towards what they hear and can feel. Oscar, that grinding sound, that crushing sound, has, if anything, gotten louder in your ears. But now you can hear laughter. You can hear someone laughing in the distance. And it's a sort of self-satisfied laughter. And it's a fat, arrogant laughter. It's the sort of laughter that comes off a fat, arrogant, powerful man.
Oh dear. I panic a little bit and look around myself.
Okay. So you're looking around. Make a panic roll for me, please.
Panic roll. How do you do panic rolls? Just two stress dice. I've got. So that's 1d6 plus the 2, right?
Yep.
4.
Okay. No, you look around and there's...
I'm creeped out.
There's just that laughter in your ears, but there's nothing else. Now, at this point, so in effect, we've almost got two groups. So Jaeger and Sultana, you run around the corner. You're coming around here. These guys are sort of about here. James is probably slightly behind the group because he's still trying to do the thing. Okay. Yep. Now, James, make an observation roll, please.
What, the observation roll that everybody's just run away?
No, for your scanning.
No, that's all right. No successes. I am going to push that.
Excellent.
And still, how can you roll 7 dice twice and get no successes? Or, no. Blocked out twice. 14 dice. Got bugger all.
Yeah.
Achievement unlocked, remember?
Achievement unlocked. That's right. Tick. All right. The pups are detecting absolutely nothing. Air levels normal. No particular foreign particulate matter. No toxins in the air.
So James, while he's standing there, has suddenly seen a few people run off.
Yeah.
Oscar's looking really suspicious, but has not said anything about why.
And the commissar has pulled his pistol out and is waving it around.
And the
just to remind you of that.
Commissar's playing with his weapon again. Yeah.
I've got a good reason this time.
Yeah, I think. Has James seen the commissar pull his gun?
Absolutely.
Commissar,
He's not done
why,
anything to conceal it. He's literally reached into his side, holster, and he's pulled out his gun and he's looking around with the gun in his hands.
Commissar, why have you drawn your weapon?
Do you know? I think I'm being paranoid. I think there's something in my oxygen tank. I can smell gunshots.
When the pups came through here, there was nothing weird in the air supply.
Yeah, I think it's in my air supply, but I don't know if it's safe to take. Your pups say this place is safe, right?
They said it was safe when they passed through. I can't comment.
Okay, I'm going to take my mask off.
Why would your air supply suddenly be tainted?
Okay.
It wasn't earlier.
I know. I've got plenty of enemies, James.
You take off your air supply.
Just put your bloody gun away.
Okay. Commissar, you take off your air supply. The smell of the cordite goes away. It's gone.
Yeah, it's definitely something in the air tank. I don't smell it
Yeah.
anymore. So false alert.
But
put the
you're
holster
looking
in the gun.
now at. You're looking directly at the guy that shot Junior Inspector Zoo. Like he's talking to you.
What? This
Who
is
shot the
as in
Inspector
I'm
Zoo?
looking at James and it's that guy.
No, you're not seeing. No, you're not looking at James. You're looking at the person who shot Junior Inspector Zoo.
Not to be mistaken with current Inspector Zoo.
Exactly.
Slightly different spelling.
Slightly different spelling. ZHU. Just to be clear.
I don't know. I'd probably freeze up if I'm honest.
Like, he's there. He's got the gun that he used to shoot down your junior inspector all those years ago in his hand, and he's smiling at you with
I've
that.
just holstered my gun. How far away is he?
He's maybe 3 meters away.
Oh, I'm just going to dive at him.
Right. So James, the commissar leaps at you. What do you do?
I am going to. So he's doing like a rugby tackle type leap, is it?
Yes.
Commissar. James is just gonna quite calmly step to one side and let him fly through the air with the greatest of ease and land on his face.
Okay. Can I get a close combat check from you, James?
Yep. 2 successes, but I rolled a stress dice as well. So
Then make a stress roll for me, please.
And I'm keeping it together.
Okay. Now, Commissar, could you roll me a close combat roll, please?
Does this count as attempting to subdue / grapple?
100%.
Because I've got the subdue talent, so that gives me a bonus.
Okay.
I'm going to have to roll my stress dice separately if I've run out of dice. No, I've got the right number of dice. Yeah. Okay, well, I got no successes, just no panics, but no successes.
Okay, you crash tackle this criminal. You crash tackle them to the ground. You've slammed them into the ground underneath you, and you're probably by this point, rolling them over to restrain them, or you can be punching them. What do you want to be doing?
Probably pummeling them, yeah.
Right, so you are smashing their face with your fists. James, you're standing to one side, and the commissar is smashing their fists into the metal grating. Like they are punching as hard as they can punch into the metal grating, and you're off to one side. Now, just while you contemplate that, I feel we've left some other people for too long, so we'll just flip over to Sultana and Jaeger and Oscar. and in particular, Jaeger and Sultana. So, Jaeger, you were first around the corner. You could hear that screaming, sort of shouting sound. When you come around the corner, there's the wall of the area just here. So just ahead of you. Actually, no, sorry, there where the escape hatch is. The escape hatch is sort of swung open and maybe even busted open, like it's been hurled across the open space, right? Like an explosion has occurred on the other side, and it's now collapsed onto the ground. And you can hear those voices screaming for help on the other side of that second door. So there's, it's a classic airlock, right? So there's the outside airlock, and then there's the inside airlock, which actually gets you into the escape vehicle itself. And you can hear people, banging on the inside. So banging on this inside door here.
Well, obviously, I need to run over and see why this is even happening.
Yeah. Okay, so you run up to this door, to this first door that for a second looked like it was on the ground, but when you run up to it, you go to run through it. Hold on. Oh no, you've clearly, just a moment, a fudge moment. So the door's actually there and it's closed off. So you'll need to open that first hatch, as it turns out. So what you saw wasn't quite right. Can I get you to make a wits roll, please?
Certainly. With stress, correct?
With stress, correct.
Oh, boy. All right. One success and one panic.
Okay, roll the panic.
Yeah.
And add one panic.
Add an additional panic. Okay.
Yep.
So we have now a result of 10.
10.
Oh!
Oh no.
Okay, you are completely confused by what's going on. So a second ago, the door was on the ground. Now it's against the wall and it's closed. And so you sort of stop, right? Because this doesn't make any sense. Doors don't teleport. Okay, so you've just sort of stopped in the moment. You're frozen with what's going on around you. At the same time, Sultana, you come sprinting around the corner. You can also hear banging and shouting and screaming, and now you can hear crackling. The smell and the sound of heat in the distance. And you can see that Jaeger is standing in front of the door, and you can hear behind that door that shouting, that screaming, that sound of heat.
What are you doing? Open the door. People are burning behind this. I just push him away and try to open the door.
Okay. Make a panic roll for me, please.
Okay. 8.
8. I think that's the... Is that the I drop shit one?
No, I think that's a 9.
Tremble. Okay, so, you're panicking, right? You're actually panicking. So you desperately want to open this door and you're fumbling because you're so stressed by what's going on around you. You're trying to unlock the door and do things. Oh, I think we just lost...
Oh.
Damn. Hopefully
Yeah, we
lost
Scott.
We lost Scott. Okay,
The
so...
madness took him.
The madness took him. Okay, so you smashed the door open. Now, meanwhile, at the same time, obviously, Oscar, you are now coming around the corner, I assume, or you... Oh, no, you're back with
James.
You're back with James, sorry, and the
just witnessed how the commissar was jumping at him, right?
Yes.
So I just
the commissar...
get my shock stick out and shout at the commissar, "Get off him!"
Okay. Make a...
Well, or are you just standing there laughing because the commissar is sort of fighting with himself on the floor?
Well, he is actually. You're right.
Well, I am winning.
Yeah, he is rolling around on the floor, sort of, doing things.
No, okay, I'll just say, "What the?" I'll say that instead, and just point my shock stick at him. Why are you attacking our friend James?
Okay. All right. Now, James, you've got medical training, don't you?
No.
Do you want to make an observation roll, please? Hey, Jaeger, he's back. Yay!
Yeah, medical training. They forgot about that when I did my survival.
Okay. Have you got survival?
I have got survival.
Make a survival roll for me, please.
Oh, okay. You sure?
Yep.
Okay, because I just rolled 2 stress on that last one, so I'll take it. I rolled 2 successes on my survival roll.
Okay. I'm telling you to suck eggs, but clearly people are hallucinating.
Yeah, I sort of thought that.
And you aren't being affected.
I was wondering about that, and which leads me to consider or think that actually it's not airborne; it's something that's affecting them through their skin. Oscar, we need to stop the commissar from having a fit.
Agreed.
Right now.
Is he having a fit? Let's get the medical kit out and give him some calms.
Okay,
Well,
so you're going to sedate him.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you guys are sedating the commissar. He's lost in his own world. You can inject him with a sedation thing. He's literally entered a sort of fugue state. So he's rolling around on the ground, sort of in his own universe.
And now we need to get to one of those escape pods with the others and get out of here.
Wouldn't it be faster for us? I don't know exactly where we are to go to the lift and get out of here.
So, sorry, you are about here.
Yeah,
There is an exit hatch here.
Let's use the hatch. Come on, let's use the hatch.
And there's an airlock going straight out into the water here, but that might be
not a good
an
idea.
extreme
No,
choice.
not a good idea.
Meanwhile, the other 2 people are over here.
Yeah. Oscar, you need to get him up that ladder and out of here really quickly. I think there's
just while all that's being said to you, I wouldn't want you to miss out. Okay. You can hear, how you could hear the laughing before, and you could hear the grinding and the crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can hear begging, and it's Carl. You can hear Carl's voice begging
from the recycling thing.
Yeah.
So I'll start dragging the commissar towards the bottom of the stairs, and then when I hear that, I say, "What the?"
Yeah.
Oh, they just run around the corner to where the others are.
Okay, so you run around the corner. Now, Sultana, we left you trembling in front of the door while Jaeger was frozen in front of the door. Both of you trapped, not sure what to do. Sultana, what do? Do you open the door?
I still hear people screaming and being burned alive, right?
Yep.
Try to open the door.
Okay. Make a heavy machinery roll for me, please, with -2 dice as a result of the trembles.
Okay, it's one moment.
Actually, that's balanced though because you've got the right tools. So,
okay,
straight up roll
with 2 panics. Okay.
Yep. Make that 3 panic, by the way, just to be generous.
Okay. Yay!
So kind to us.
2 successes and 1 panic.
Okay, make a panic roll, and you have opened the door.
And I get 2 in my panic, so 5.
Perfect. So you've opened the door, you've swung it open. There's nothing here. There's no one on the other side of this door. Like in just that moment, there's no one on the other side of this door.
What? No, Dimitri. I heard Dimitri. What's going on in here?
Okay.
Jaeger, you heard them, right?
Jaeger.
Jaeger's frozen.
Okay,
Unbelievable.
but you're sort of coming out of it now, right? So it's not it's only for a turn or two. So
Okay.
like he's opened the door.
All I heard was banging. There were people in there.
Yeah, they're being burned alive.
I
Okay.
didn't hear any burning.
All right. So you both now can hear the voices of people that you remember from the past. So Jaeger, you can hear Ivan. And you can hear Ivan struggling for breath, gasping for air, but it's in his voice. You can hear him crying as he takes every desperate last breath, as he's crushed under earth and rock and debris in a cold vacuum. Sultana, you can hear Dimitri yelling at you, saying, "Why did you lead us here? Why did you make us do this? Why is it you? Why did you survive? Why did you survive that moment? It was your choice. You said we should resist. You said we should do this."
I'm losing my mind. No, Dimitri. I'm sorry, Dimitri. And she's crumbled on the floor, crying. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Dimitri. I'm coming for you. I will save you.
Okay, so those voices seem to be coming from the recycling center.
Yeah,
or maybe
definitely.
they're coming from this further door down here. You're not sure. Which one do you want to choose? So this is both of you I'm talking to, by the way. Sorry, I should have made that clear. So Jaeger and Sultana, where do you want to go?
I will go to the recycling.
Okay.
Jaeger will follow.
Okay. Now, James, you've seen Oscar run off, half having dragged the now somewhat more calm Commissar. Drooling. Now, Commissar, you've actually been dosed with, in effect, a sort of, a thing that lowers your levels of stress and other things. Like it actually strips your stress away while knocking you around. So you're feeling much calmer. And actually, you're feeling much calmer. Like you're not hearing the smells or the sounds. Like you're feeling calm. And, the drugs have obviously kicked in and you're sort of now in a slightly confused state, but definitely not, sort of in that fugue anymore.
Okay. So, but am I free to actually move or do anything? Or
Yep. Because Oscar didn't actually sort of tie you up or anything. They dosed you. Oh, you did tie them up?
No, I didn't tie him up.
No. So they dosed you and then they bolted. So you can stand up.
Yeah, I'll slowly stand up. I'll use the walls to sort of support myself and just sort of shake my head a bunch. Try and recall the events of what has just happened better in my head.
Yeah, you have really distinct memories of all of the events. Like you definitely remember doing all the things that you did. But they all feel kind of remote and distant, if that makes sense.
Okay. But the others are still beyond. I've lost where they've run to.
You can see James.
Yeah. Can I recall my pups? Automatic recall. And B, turn to the commissar and say, "Are you okay now? We need to get out of here. There's something affecting you and it's going through your skin. By the way, put your face mask back on."
Yeah. I'm good. I'll put the mask back on.
Right.
Okay.
We've got to get everyone out.
There's a set of stairs here, or we need to get everybody out of the pods. It's affecting you lot through your skin. That's why I'm not affected. That's why I'm not seeing these things, I think.
All right. Well, you're the expert.
No, I'm the one that's not mad.
When you said I feel calmer, does that mean I lose much of my stress?
Yeah, your stress is gone. Yeah,
okay.
the sedation takes out your stress at the same time.
Okay. We got to go drag the others out while I'm currently drugged up.
Yeah.
And maybe resilient to this. We've got to go save them.
Okay, so they're all clustered down here now, right? So Sultana and Jaeger get there first, and then Oscar sort of comes around the corner quite quickly. All three of you are at the door trying to get in to this space. The pups, and I might get you all... Yeah, I'll just get each of you to make a stress roll, and just tell me if you get more than 6. It's not a stress roll. It's a general sort of panicky anxiety roll.
Jaeger has a 9.
Okay. Did anyone else get higher than 6?
Nope.
Sultana, did you get higher? Nope.
You're muted.
Okay. Okay. So, Jaeger, the two flying objects that swing past you are clearly United America's design, and they might even be, armed or something. Like they're probably some sort of flying bomb.
Of course, I swing the spanner at it.
Yep. Just roll close combat.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Finally, something I'm good at. No.
In fact, it actually is.
Oh, you're going to say finally a chance to get rid of the overpowered drones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, my gift to Dave.
It's
Dave's already broken them twice.
Jaeger has 1 success and no panic, surprisingly.
Okay, you smack one out of the air with your wrench, knocking it to the ground. The other one zips back and comes back to you, James, but unfortunately, it's a trip to the repair shop for Bert. Another trip to the repair shop for Bert.
Another trip to the repair shop.
See, that's what you get for having noob colonists.
That's right. And I'm now pushing to call them Bert and Ernie. I just want to make that clear, Dave. If you watch this stream,
I think Bert and Ernie's fine. I like that. I'm going to update my character sheet with them called Bert and Ernie.
So, Sultana, Oscar, Jaeger, you're at the door. You want to get in there, you can. You can get in there, right? So at this point, you three are all fully invested in what you're seeing and hearing. So in the case of Sultana, you can literally hear Dimitri begging for you to help him from inside that door. Oscar, you can hear Carl, who, has had this horrible accident, but it's not an accident. And you know that, Oscar, because you can hear the laughter of that fat, arrogant man in the background laughing as this all happens. And Jaeger, you can hear your brother Ivan suffocating, begging for that last breath of air because the bombardment has punctured the fortifications and he's crushed under stone and dirt and exposed and he's dying. So, with that in mind, what do the three of you do, starting with Sultana?
Just try to open the door, and I'm totally oblivious of the two surrounding me. I'm just on a mission to just save Dimitri. So I'm opening the door. I'm using my force to open the door.
Okay, roll force for me, please.
So it's close combat or
Isn't there? Oh no, isn't there force or something similar to that?
no?
Something like that. The
We
stamina.
can
No,
use
it's-
close combat. That's fine. Just use close combat. It'll do.
Okay.
close combat or strength.
Stamina.
Okay. Zero successes, but of course,
You're
she
gonna
will
push.
it. Of course,
Yep.
she will put it. Oh, playing in character, so
More stress dice.
2 successes, no panic.
Okay, perfect. So you basically smash the door down. So you effectively get a hammer out of your toolkit and you smash the door with the hammer until it buckles under the hammer and levers open. Oscar, you're watching Sultana smashing the entryway to the machine, pushing it in. What do you do?
I follow her in.
Right, so you run in straight after them. Jaeger, what are
Absolutely.
you doing?
I'm mute here.
You're muted.
You're on mute. Sorry, mate.
I'm half tempted to just smash this UA device that could be an explosive, but I know that Ivan is there waiting for me. I run in
To
the
dig
door.
him out.
I run in.
Okay, you all run in. You're all in this giant pit, right? So the actual way the recycling system works is it's effectively an entire sludge of, active bacterial agents that are converting the waste and doing various things to it. And then there's a filtration system that runs underneath the big pit. So you've all basically are now standing in, sewerage and refuse, sort of digging through the refuse, trying to find the person you're trying to find. Not that you're particularly conscious of that, but that's what's happening at the macro level. Commissar, James, you come around the corner. They've smashed the door in, first of all, not great. Second of all, they're all in the pit, digging through the refuse. Can I get both of you to make observation rolls for me, please?
Yeah, it's not my best skill.
No,
I got a success though.
I got no successes.
Okay. Commissar, what you see, which no one else has noticed because they're all in their own fuges, is there's a fungal growth, a massive sort of, like are they called enoki mushrooms, the thin white sort of mushroom growth, like a whole mass.
I think I know the sort of thing you're talking about. Yeah.
So there's a whole mass of that in one of the upper corners of the space. Sort of there. It's completely visible to you. Everyone else, like, you can see them desperately digging into the recycling system. Now, your concern is twofold. One, people aren't meant to get in the recycling system. Bad. Two, the recycling system itself is actually quite fragile. Like, it's not like, it's robust in the sense of it's robust for what it does. It's not robust for people to be hammering at it with hammers, which is what's currently happening. So Sultana is sort of, sort of swinging the hammer into the recycling system. Oscar's, digging through it. Jaeger, is also sort of digging in and sort of digging their way through. So what are you going to do, Commissar?
Okay, I'm going to point out the fungal stuff to James. Just say that might be what's causing it, but we need to get them out. And then I want to try and... Can I get at any of them without having to go down there myself? Can I just reach in and try and pull one out?
Sure.
I'll attempt to grab whoever's nearest and drag them out of the pit.
So make a you've got the subdue talent, don't you?
I do have the subdue talent.
Okay, so roll your close combat skill.
Okay, that's a big fat no successes, so I might push it. And by might, I mean I will push it, because
Yep. And now
currently
going
unstressed, so it
one
should be fine.
stress. Now going one stress.
That's better. That's 2 successes.
Nice. Okay. Random roll. Sultana. So you've grabbed Sultana and you've... Now, how does subdue work? What does it let you do? So
It's just a bonus dice when attempting to subdue or grapple.
Okay. So you basically... Now, Sultana's only conscious of you when you actually grapple with them, right? So they're not conscious of you until that point. So, Sultana, you're desperately smashing on this recycling system. Not that you know that. You're desperately smashing on the door to get Dimitri out, when suddenly you feel someone grab you from behind and try and pull you away from the door. Now, this is exactly what happened when you were trying to save Dimitri the first time. You were trying to get through that door and people were pulling you away. Are you going to let it happen again?
For sure not. I will try to resist, maybe punch him.
Okay, so you swing around and swing a wild haymaker punch at the person who's trying to pull you away. Roll close combat. And James, what are you doing about the fungi?
A quick question: is there a hose pipe in here, like water?
Yes, there would be. Yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable question.
Yeah. I'm ignoring the fungi because there's nothing I can do about it at the moment. I'm grabbing the hose pipe and I'm going to switch it on and I'm going to douse these guys in water.
Golf clap. Very nice. Okay, so you're going to wash them down with the hose pipe at full strength.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What'd you get, Sultana?
Sorry, Commissar. I get 4 successes.
Jesus.
That's the way to do it.
Okay, so the commissar's like trying to pull you out, thinking that, you know, they've got you and it's going to be just them pulling you out. And then they remember that Sultana's twice their size. And they turn around and just smash you back against the wall with a fist. Do you want to make a, I think it's close combat to oh, actually, hold on. Have you got something you can block the blow with?
I mean, I've got... You mean in terms of like armor or whatever? Because no, in that case, no.
I guess so. Yeah, you can with the gun. I don't
know. Not really. Like, it's got to be a credible blocking mechanism, and a gun is just an extension of your fist.
Right? I mean, I've got my baton, but I'm imagining as I'm trying to use both my hands to pull him up, I probably can't really now draw something to try and stop him from doing anything.
Well, it's in the context of a more narrative view of the combat, right? So you've grappled them, you've pulled them back, they've spun around to punch you. You can, you know, you've probably got an extendable baton, I would imagine.
Yeah. So just whip that out and try and
sort of block the blow. So make a close combat roll for me, please.
And my stress dice now. There's 2 successes.
Okay, which is not enough. Because of the 4 successes that Sultana got.
I doubt I was going to get enough.
Yeah. So you try and block it. I'll give you partial blocking for the sake of, you know, narrative structures. So you take 2 points of damage from Sultana's wild haymaker swing at you. Now, Oscar and Jaeger, you are suddenly blasted against the wall by water. Right, like this hose is at full strength. It's actually in here to clean out the recycling tubs should they need to be completely evacuated and then cleaned. So the water is pumped directly from the ocean in here as just effectively a sort of hosing out mechanism. And there's a big fat, you know, iris at the bottom that they swing open so they can just pump it all out, wash it out. So that's why the hose pipe was there. You are slammed against the wall by this water, and you are, you're completely confused because you get this sudden moment of clarity, right? Like, you are in the recycling center. you are being pushed against the wall by James, who's got this hose, and he's like literally smashing you against the wall with it. You each take 1 point of damage just from being, banged up against the wall and hurled against it. What do you want to do? He's like, and assumedly he just keeps on doing it until something changes. What do you do?
Have I got a chance of snapping out of this now or not?
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. Could you make a wits roll for me, please?
With a stress, yeah?
Yep.
Wits. Have I got any wits? That's 3 plus 2.
And Jaeger, do you want to make the same?
No, I could just do a face hugger for you. And I've got a panic of 8.
Okay. So you actually come out of the fuge, right? Like you do come out of the fuge because the active component has now been removed from your skin. But you are now trembling and shaking and in shock because you've sort of got the two moments sort of overlaid across each other, right? So you haven't completely lost the sense of what's happening, and you've also still got the overlay of, that sense that Carl is somehow at risk. So you've still got both sort of warring inside your head. But while you're under the water, at least, you're able to sort of make some decisions. Jaeger, what did you get?
I ended up with 2 successes.
Nice. Okay, well, you are going, but I was never, I was nowhere near Ivan when all of that went down. Right? Like I wasn't there. I wasn't in that place. And so you're sort of, your brain's kind of resetting a bit and saying, hold on a second, I wasn't actually in that space.
All right. What am I doing here? Obviously, I've lost my wrench as well.
Yes, you've definitely lost your wrench in the process. It's somewhere in that giant swirling mass of sewerage that you've just been diving into. We'll talk about, diphtheria and cholera later. So what do you want to do? You've actually got control of yourself.
If I can help to perhaps maybe pull Oscar out, get him out before I climb myself out. I'm assuming that I don't need to get involved with the commissar.
That might not be true.
I've got this handled.
I've got it handled. It's like, All right, so Jaeger, you're still being hosed. So I assume you're yelling at James or something to sort of, stop.
Yes, of course.
When James hears stop, he turns the hose down, but now directs it at Sultana.
Okay, so you spin the hose around and start spraying Sultana with this giant hose. Sultana, you're about to lay a mighty fist onto the commissar again. The commissar has, sort of is holding you back. Not that, actually, maybe you do recognize it's the commissar. Yeah, why not? You recognize it's the commissar, so you're a bit confused about why he's, trying to stop you from saving Dimitri, but who knew? The commissar was there.
Maybe I was.
That explains why you don't trust him. Make a wits roll for me, please.
Wits, only 2 dices plus stress. Two successes, no panic.
Nice. Okay.
And the successes on the
no panic.
and the successes on the panic dice.
Yeah, well, that's what they're for. Okay, so you snap out of the food state as well. You've been washed down with the hose. You stink. You all stink. Everyone who's in the recycling center stinks. You're covered in grime, although less than you were a second ago. So there's that. And you can sort of call it there for one of sort of like you come out of the fugue state. you grab Oscar, and assumedly you retreat out of the space. Is that so? I'm just conscious of time, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that's wise. None of us would stick around down there.
Well, I think James wants to get him as quickly as possible into the nearest escape pod.
Yep, and then
hit the button and get him out of the area.
Yeah. And then do you go back and deal with the fungi?
So I think we'd designate a security team to go down there with like pressure suits on and eliminate
that classic scene with the fire torches,
Basically, yeah.
Hunting around for the big white fungi that's been growing in the corners.
Yeah, and then, well, after we think it's safe, we'll probably try and get people back in there to actually fix all of the broken stuff.
Yeah.
Seems wise.
So, cool. So we're right on 8 a.m. my time, which is, I've completely lost it.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, so I think, just a very quick round up and then we're done. So,
we have four continents on the session today.
Yeah,
that's right. We have all 4 continents. Well, 4 continents on the session. Actually, anyway. Okay, so your scientists are able to ascertain the following for you when they pull it all apart. So basically, it's actually a reaction of the antifungal agent inside you to the fungal spores of the new fungus that's causing the hallucinations. So the antifungal thing that you're all treated with interacts poorly with this particular type of fungus. So where it provides you with protection, in this case, it causes you to suffer what's called an attentional disruption, which is actually a real thing, and causes delusionary and a hallucinatory experience. So it's actually the interaction of what you've been injected with the spores of this new fungus, and it's actually that interaction that's causing the hallucinations. The analysis of the plastic shows that you've actually had an outbreak of plastic-eating bacteria, which probably comes from off-planet. So it was probably here since the founding of the colony and has been slowly spreading through the electrical systems of the maintenance area. It's not fast growing, so it's not like it spreads like wildfire, but what's been happening is it's taken a long time, but it's now, puncturing the insulation at various points. And so, that's what's going on. So that's it.
I want to make sure Gus gets a bad report on his handling of this entire situation.
All right. So do you want to make, actually, in all seriousness, do you want to make a command roll to appropriately report the bureaucratic bungle that Gus has dropped on all of you?
Yes, I do.
With a broken nose that we took from Sultana.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm not holding that against you. I'm holding it against Gus. He was the one who sent us all down there. After he supposedly had probably been down there himself to see how bad it was. So, yes. I got 3 successes on that roll.
Okay.
So,
wow, that is a humdinger of a bureaucratic sledge. Despite Gus's best efforts and his continued involvement in the repairs, we were unable to achieve a repair until I had to inject myself in the process. I recognize that Gus has been under a lot of stress recently, and I am worried for his continued ability to perform at full capacity. We might need to think about doing something about Gus's performance going forward.
Perfect.
I've never written an email like that before, but if I had to write an email, that's how I'd write it. Okay.
Write something like that.
Now, sorry, guys, I'm just trying to find the experience table.
I think it's 20 experience points each.
Yeah, Dave's usually really generous with experience points.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Anyway, okay, whatever. I'm just going to call that as I see it. That's
you know us too well.
XP. Hey, I found it. Developing your character. Okay. So you all participated in the game session?
Yes.
Yay!
Yay.
We didn't really play out the person. Actually, he's come up with a different set of questions.
Oh yeah, you did.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll park experience. I'll have a chat with Dave, and he can ping you guys because I don't know what the questions are, so I'm not even going to pretend, right? But
Okay, cool.
I'll get Dave to chase it down. Sorry, Dave. Okay, so hopefully that was fun. If nothing else, and I guess we'll call it at 8:05. The usual story. Hope everyone who was watching online enjoyed it. And come back in a fortnight for your usual. Bruce, no one believes you. Bruce, no one believes you. And in a fortnight, you'll be back to your usual GM and the usual programming. Thank you, one and all. And in particular, thanks, guys. Thanks for playing.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot for
Thank you,
standing in,
Tom.
Thomas. It was good.
Very
See you
good.
guys.
Thank you.
Talk to
Cheers.
you all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Later.